Nonsensical Pittsburgh Steelers talk. Every single week we take that walk through the history, the present, and the future bright. Steel City stories shining ever so light. Yeah, Viking, Donkey, Gingy, Lasker, a legendary crew. Talking Steelers football through and through.
That's right, Jackson Jennings. It is that time. It is Nonsensical Steelers Talk. This is your daily dose of donkey with Ginger. It's your boy, the Viking Donkey, coming to you solo this week. Sorry for the delay and everything, I know Disturb says it's cool to get down with the sickness, but I don't suggest doing that at all. It is a terrible, miserable place to be. That's where it's been mostly this week. Hopefully we can get out a decent episode for you this week, though. We're going to try to keep it short, try to keep it sweet, as, not feeling the greatest, don't want to have a huge cough fit in your ears, but want to give you that little bit of information, try to keep it going out there. Free agency is about to happen. The NFL Combine's happened if you're one of those people who likes, watching college kids perform in shorts, which just seems like a whole bunch of uselessness, in my opinion. Not something I'm a big fan of. But what I really want to talk about is some cool movement out there, some potential quarterbacks being available now. And of course, that's what the talk for Pittsburgh is going to be until it's decided who's going to be that quarterback. Are they going to move in a young direction? Are they going to move in a veteran direction? Is the quarterback on the roster right now in Mason Rudolph or Will Howard? That type of question. But let's prime it. Let's start. Names that have gotten released or pending release that could be available to the Steelers that maybe are ones you build on. Maybe you're a person who wants to see them go the veteran route, of course, which brings you to names like Aaron Rodgers, why can't Joe Flacco still out there as a veteran option, right? Andy Dalton, maybe in a trade type scenario. Those are the type ones. Kirk Cousins, obviously. The older veteran type of quarterbacks that are out there. Geno Smith getting released by the Raiders adds another name to that list. Maybe you're one of the ones that's like, hey, a guy who got a franchise type quarterback contract, still on the proper side of 30, are available too. Maybe I'm a fan of Tua. Maybe I'm a fan of Kyler Murray. If these are the type of names that interest you, maybe it's a guy you want to see on the trade market that gets brought in. Of course, those would be like Mac Jones, top tier backup guys who maybe showed a little something. Those type of guys on the market. Is there a game changer that we're not talking about? Are you a big fan of a free agent quarterback who's out there like Malik Willis? Are you on board with Derek Carr coming out of retirement type of thing? There's so many names, so much interest in the quarterback market. I mean, Anthony Richardson becoming available for trade if it's a guy you feel you can develop further. That also puts names like Will Levis in there. I believe we mentioned Malik Willis, but if I didn't, the big marquee free agent name right now, right? So I just wanted to put out there some names. I've talked about the ones that I've been interested in, right? Guys like Will Levis, maybe even Anthony Richardson, someone who gets a shot, but I don't think should be given the job. A guy who comes in to compete for that type of job is a younger guy, but if it works out, you look great. Kind of like the Colts thought they had with Daniel Jones, which, by the way, another name of a guy who's available out there on the market. So, and sorry for the delay there on sound. I had to mute myself from coughing. So those are the names that are out there. Those are the ones I'm looking at. And I've already said in the past, the guys who I would be interested in the order I'd be interested in. I mean, I think Malik Willis would be cool, though now with all the talk around him, I think the money's going to be way too high for that to be cool. But bringing in a guy like Will Levis, bringing in a guy like Trey Lance, someone who's been a high draft pick before and hasn't really gotten a big amount of starts in the NFL. Those are the type of names that I would look for, that I'd be intrigued in. Of course, I am intrigued by the potential of a released guy like Kyler Murray, being able to sign him for absolutely no money and give him a shot to stay healthy. I mean, To me, he's the guy who's shown all pro production before, is still young enough to be there. Injuries have always kind of slowed him down, whether it's injuries late in the season where he's just not 100% or injuries where he misses a bunch of games. But he's the name to me that is the most intriguing of them. If you want to run it back with Aaron Rodgers, of course, that's a possibility too. I just wanted to put some names out there, give a little primer on the quarterbacks because I think that's going to be the big part of free agency. Of course, other positions, we'll look at wide receivers. Hopefully, they go out and get one of them too. Maybe add another cornerback. I know they've been talking a lot about a guy like Reek Woolen, played for Seattle this year, those types of things. But this is just a basic primer. Get ready. Hopefully, we see some movement from the Steelers, maybe an addition of a young offensive guard somewhere in that position. Let me know, though, who do you think the Steelers should look at quarterback? Do you think they should even look at any one of these quarterbacks? Or is there someone in the draft who is the person that you're looking forward to? I know it wasn't a crazy long episode this week, but just get a little primer out there. Not a whole heck of a lot to talk about right now, waiting for free agency to happen. We could talk about moves that are out there, but we already talked last week with Jinji. Jonnu Smith has really been the only cut the Steelers have made thus far, so we'll see what's going on there. Hopefully, we got a little more to talk about, whether it be re-signings or future things, or maybe some big marquee names that are on the move already. We've seen some center movement going around, mostly in the NFL right now, with some big names signing here and there. Of course, Max Crosby getting traded to the Raiders from the Raiders to the Ravens. Seems like a little bit of an odd fit, but great pass rushers are great pass rushers. We'll see how much that really affects the Steelers if that move ends up becoming official. I think it has, but I'm not fully sure on that. I mean, the Ravens given up quite a bit to get a guy that you got to pay a lot of money to that's going on the, later stages of career. And moving from a 4-3 to a 3-4 defense might be a little weird, but who knows? Might work out great. Hopefully it doesn't, because we don't want to see that. So now I guess it's time to get to, should we just call it shout outs this week? And I'm going to give a shout out to a man whose birthday I believe is this week, and that's Hines Ward, a guy who deserves to be in a Hall of Fame. And I think I'm going to give him a shout out because watching him change the way wide receiver was played has always been a fun thing for me, and I really appreciate getting to watch him be a legacy Steeler through my young to intermediate age of fandom of the Pittsburgh Steelers is what we'll go ahead and call that. But now I gotta let you know, I am the Viking Donkey. Of course, this is your daily dose of donkey with Ginger, the awesome YouTube show where you get this nonsensical Steelers talk and we get to have some fun. Hopefully, more content to come to be joined into this whole premise. Hopefully, I'm feeling better and I can get that ball rolling because, it'd be kind of fun, be kind of entertaining. And Donk Nation, Steelers Nation, you know what to do. Wave them if you got them. Here we go, Steelers.